beautiful ones. Welcome back to another music reaction today. And we're looking at these music reactions from the perspective of what pulls us toward the fifth dimensional reality and consciousness of love, peace, joy, bliss, abundance, motherhood, the whole 9 yards. And what is kind of pulling us backward toward the third dimensional we've lived in for thousands of years of suffering and pain and fear and anger and all of that. Let me also ask, say, if you could please go ahead and like this video. Sorry about that.
Broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. You can find a fighter, a seed in you, so we go walk it out. Move mountains,
107.5.
we can walk it out. Mountains.
Okay, let's pause it for a minute there. Well, of course, she has a beautiful voice, doesn't she? And she's just so riveting in the way she performs. I'm also a trained actress, so and I'm a singer, but, I know riveting when I see it. And she is just so incredibly riveting. She puts all of her emotion into whatever she does. So kudos to you, Morissette, Amon. I honor you. But let's talk about what she's saying here. So she's saying she's going to rise up. So she's saying she's going to rise up from the pain. It looks like maybe a breakup of a relationship, or maybe it's a relationship that is in the question mark of whether it's going to go on or not. And she's saying she's going to rise up from the pain. So certainly this is moving toward fifth dimension. It's in that direction because, they're in the fifth dimension. That's all we're doing is rising, 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 right? We're in that space of always going higher and higher and higher and higher. And yet then there's this concept of the pain, though. So the pain is a third dimensional thing. So the concept that there even is pain or suffering or pain around the loss of a loved one, that's very third dimensional, and it doesn't happen in fifth dimension. Because number one, everybody, there's no attachment to other people in the fifth dimension, and people do what they want and they enjoy. When you're with someone, you enjoy it. When you're not with someone, you enjoy whatever else you're doing. So there's not that attachment, because you know that over eons and eons and eons of lifetimes, you're going to come across everyone else again and again and again and again and again and again and again. So there isn't that. And also there's no suffering, there's no pain, there's just zero suffering and pain in fifth dimension, because we have gained our sort of, let's call it, angel wings. Okay? And angels, they're not suffering. They're just in pure joy all the time. So, but this is quite beautiful because it's very heartfelt. The music moves you. Let's keep continuing.
For you, for you.
And the sound of the music itself is uplifting. I always say that the sound, the feeling that the sound of the music gives you is the most important thing. The words, they may go awry, but if the sound and the feeling of it raises you up, then we're heading toward 5D. And this is certainly an uplifting sound.
Silence isn't quiet. It feels like it's getting hard to breathe. I know you feel like tired, and I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, we can walk it out. Move mountains. Rise up, rise like the day, and rise up, rise on the
let's pause it there. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. The sound of it is so gorgeous and so uplifting. And everything beautiful is fifth dimensional, right? So, but she says, in terms of her relationship, we can work it out. We can do it. We're going to be okay. And so that's a little bit on the third dimensional side, in that she has to, it's like, there's these problems going on, but we're going to work it out. We're going to work it out, almost like a neediness. Like, instead of saying just, okay, there are these problems going on, I'm going to work on myself and you're going to work on yourself, and we'll see whether this thing works given that, right? Because if you're not working on your end and I'm not working on my end, it may not work. And that's just the reality of it. It may not work for us to be together. But she's like, okay, we're going to work it out. We're going to make it happen, which is, it's kind of it's a third dimensional thought, right? But then the next second she says is, I'll rise up, I'll rise up, I'll rise up. See, the focus in fifth dimension is always on self, working on self, bringing self to the next higher level. And if the other person can come along and be with you in that, all the better. But the focus is always on self. And, most of your personal growth folks and your therapists and all that, they'll always say that, by the way. That's a very fifth dimensional thing, to put the focus over here and say, I am going to make it happen. And what you're going to do is what you're going to do, and we'll see how that works out. Right? Okay, here we go.
All we need is hope, and that we have each other, and that we have each other. We will rise, we will rise, we will rise. We will rise, and rise up.
So, and that right there, we will rise up. So, you can never rise for another person. In 3D, that person rises on his or her own, and you rise on your own. The we will rise up. What if that one doesn't? How can you say that for the other person? Because you don't know what that other person needs to experience in life. So that's a little bit on the 3D world. The words, not the sound. The sound is full on fifth dimension. Here we go.
I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up in spite of the ache, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I'll rise up the day, I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again.
Stop it right there for just a second. I know she's going to go into some amazing sounding thing any second now. So let me get this thought out. So she says she's going to rise up and do it 1,000 times again. What our speaking is so powerful. We are the God sparks. So it's kind of, this is kind of one of those, it's a not so great idea masquerading as an enlightened idea. So for instance, if you say I'm going to rise up 1,000 times again, with the God spark, the divine spark that you are, you set in place that there must be something that you have to rise up from, that there must be that suffering or that hardship or that pain. We set that in place through our thinking. So to say I'm going to rise up over and over and over again, it's kind of like I used to say never a dull moment. I used to say that a lot. And then I realized, oh my goodness, I'm putting in place, as the God spark I am, that there should always never be a dull moment and always be chaos and always be upsets and all that. I had to stop. Okay? So, like I said, it's kind of like it's moving toward fifth dimension, but it ain't quite there yet. But it sounds good, and her feeling is so beautiful. Isn't it so profound? Here we go. Let's hear what she's going to knock us out with in her voice. I know she can do it. Here we go.
For you. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh my. And part of me hates, jumping into the song to interject these third dimensional 5D ideas because the beauty of that song was just so profound. So do go back, listen to that without me talking. But at least you can understand where we're going here with this fifth dimensional conversation. Hold on, let me get back to my screen. And give her that like, because oh my goodness, does she have a voice and does she have an ability to just pour out her heart and bring you into it, and just like, oh my goodness. And this was the joy of this coming to this reality when we were divine God sparks, just soaring around the galaxy and the universe, and we had all power we could create. I'm talking about our higher selves, like our higher self, when those were like angels and archangels and creating planets and all of this. But it got boring, and we said, let's come see what separation is like. Let's see what it's like to actually have these emotions. We didn't have, we had the soaring emotions, the love and the joy and all that, but didn't have the whole gamut of emotions. And we wanted to know what that was like. And that's why this planet of separation was created, so we could come and experience that. Experience the joy of holding a baby in your arms, which we also didn't have that physical body, so we couldn't do that, while also experiencing when someone sings their heart out and it makes you cry. It's so beautiful, right? All of these things was what we actually came to this reality to experience. So kudos to you, Morissette Amon. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know if it is, but kudos to you for bringing that to us. Okay, so that's about it. I'm going to finish up, first of all, by thanking all of you. Any of you who have supported me in any way, shape, or form, by buying me a coffee or by going onto my Patreon support page. It's much appreciated. It allows me to do what it is I love to do, which is these videos. And now I'm sending you who are watching right now, I'm now sending you all these beautiful fifth dimensional energies. The energy of peace and love and joy and bliss, fun, play, ease. Sending them out, sending you brotherhood, harmony, serenity, the whole 9 yards, prosperity. And finally, in closing, I say, Namaste. I honor the God in you.